going to jump in here. So, Kelcey, thank you for joining us on the Pair program. This is another bonus episode of a mini series that we call How We Hatched. So, this is just a fun discussion to hear a little bit more about your unique career journey, where you came from and how you arrived at this current point in your seat today as the Chief Technology Officer at Opportunity at Work. So I like to always start by, having you provide the listeners with just a quick overview of, opportunity at work. What are these big overarching problems that you all are solving here?
Yep. So Opportunity at Work is a nonprofit organization based out of Washington, D.C. Our mission is to find equitable jobs for stars, candidates that are seeking opportunity. We call them stars, but they are skilled through alternative routes.
For sure. Yeah, it's a mission that I think is just overall, needs to be embraced globally, right? It's something that we as a country have always struggled with. How do we empower a more diverse workforce? And I think this is one of those outlets that is really trying to crack that code and kind of rewire the way that the labor workforce is built. So it's a fantastic mission. We're excited to learn more about it throughout this discussion. But we're gonna keep it more dialed in on you as well, right? So we're all about tech here, and so we always want to what got you into the world of tech. Let's go back in time and let's start around your journey. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing and what got you fascinated with getting into the world of technology.
Yeah, I was always a geek, a nerd. Back in the day, everyone hated to be called a nerd, but I was a nerd back in the day. And in high school, I was always tinkering and playing with different things, and and in games, games was, we was in the beginning stages of games. It was more of a green screen, and had paddles, kind of moving things around. Was all fascinating. And again, like that's what kind of drew me into technology. I was fascinated with from a gaming perspective, but I didn't ever think businesses were using technology in that level, in that facet, until I went to Dallas, Texas. My aunt, who worked at Frito-Lay, and she was in like this call center, and she was like considered like computer operations, and they were doing cool stuff. And I was like, man, this is not games. This is like computer stuff for companies. And you guys are doing this type of stuff and managing this, that, and another, the logistics of where trucks are going and people needing, inventory. And you guys would, they were managing all of that. And I was like, man, that's fascinating. I want to do that when I grow up like you. And that's what kind of got me started down the path. I went into the military, and even in the military, I was like, I wanted to do something with the computers. I just want to do something, from a computers engineering, or at the time it wasn't really computer engineering, it was like programming. I just want to do computer programming. I just want to do that type of stuff. Going to the military, I worked as a computer operator. We used to call them fire direction computer or fire direction controllers,
Mm-hmm.
but we were known as the brains of artillery. So I was in the artillery unit, and we actually did all of the computations and all of the putting everything together to tell the actual artillerymen how to actually shoot a missile or a rocket or downstream to the targets. I did that for 8 years. Got out of the military and started my journey in college and trying to break into corporate America. Again, at that time, I was considered a star. Who knew? I had gained a lot of skills in the military on how to program, on how to lead people, and landed my first job at Equifax as a in their computer center, in their data center. That's where I really got my first taste of technology in corporate America was in Equifax, where I continued to go to school, continue to learn, continue to persevere. Be persistent, persevere in technology and how technology work, how people use technology, how you test technology to make sure your users are satisfied with it, and how to kind of like project manage, how you take a project and actually get it actually built out or executed, or people utilizing the software or the services that you're selling.
Mm.
I left Equifax, went to Bank of America, where I worked for a little while at Bank of America in their computer operations. Left there, worked at Allied Systems in their uh, data center computer operations. Again, that's where I kind of got started, but and where I really learned a lot about working with a team, building applications, making the quality of them, and all of that.
So, I love the story of, one, your transition from the military into civilian work, because it mirrors a lot of, what you're describing, and what your mission stands for, with opportunity at work. So, one, it was with the Army?
Yeah, it was with the Army, U.S. Army. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your service. And two, what was it that inspired you to get into the military? Was that something that was in your family history, or that folks had served in the past, or what was your inspiration there?
Well, my father was in the Marine Corps, and he was completely against it. What was my motivation really to go in the military was knowing that, one, I was scared to go to college because I didn't know what happened if I went to college. All I knew
Mhm.
was I go to college, I probably party and probably get kicked out. That was one, and then two, not really having the financial means. I knew my mother, single mother of three. I just knew that in order to help her out, I needed to go to college. I needed to go in the military, get the military to pay for my college, where she
Mhm.
don't have to incur that cost. And
Sure.
so that was really my biggest motivation. And then, of course, I convinced my friends. So it's four of us, four guys that I was always in high school with. We were being friends. Each one of us went into a different branch to compete against each other. So that was
Sure.
another motivation. One went in the Army. I went in the Army. One went in the Air Force. One went in the Marines. One went in the Navy. And every year at Christmas, we would come and talk about our story, our journey, and
Uh,
of course we'd do this like physical fitness competition to see who was in fit and all this other stuff. But it was crazy.
that's funny. That's with March Madness just behind us, it's a whole nother level of Final Four right there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh, that's cool. So, you know, on the topic of skills that skills through alternative routes, right? The STARS program. What would you say? Going into the tech space, transitioning from a military setting. What were some of those skills that you felt were applicable that really helped you in grooming your career?
I think the biggest ones will be communication, discipline, discipline under adversity, right? That
Mhm.
is, you know, today in corporate America, there's a lot of change going on, and as long as a person can be solid, right, have a good mindset and be solid during change, that's what a lot of people are looking for. Of course, you need some of the raw technical skills or some of the raw, basic skills in technology. But being able to communicate, being able to manage your time, and being able to handle change or adversity, I think are three are the key things.
So you get into the world of tech, but looks like you're spending a lot of time in the FinTech space, in the vertical. Was that something that you were always kind of interested in, or did it kind of pick you?
Yeah, it
How
just
did you?
kind of picked me. It literally kind of picked me. Once you go into a organization, you kind of be around certain people. You start to tend to follow the people. You kind of want to stay together with those same people. I mean, you become a family, right? And
Hmm.
so, that's that. The people that I was always around, we always stayed in that FinTech, FinService industry. So
Okay. And so yeah, you start as a programmer, and then it looks like you start to work your way into management around the time that you start working with TransUnion. So this is late '90s, early 2000s. You spent almost 12 years at TransUnion. What was it about TransUnion that kept you there such a long tenure? What was it? The culture there? Was it the ability to learn? Did they give you, a lot of mentors there? Like, what was it there that kept you so drawn to TransUnion?
yeah, it was definitely the culture, and the people that I work with. So um, TransUnion acquired a company that I was at. It was a more startup, small company called Visionary Systems. When they acquired us, we became TransUnion, and then the big company, the big mother company, took over. Like training programs. How you lead. Being want to be a global company. How we go and be, manage work abroad, all of those type things was very interesting to me because I've always loved different cultures. I love, a global, you know, working for a global company because now I work with different cultures and different people. That was very fascinating at the time because a lot of companies wasn't doing that back in the late '90s, early 2000s. Companies wasn't doing that. TransUnion being a pioneer, really building like these work centers abroad was very very interesting to me and gave me the opportunity to get a lot of experience in this field.
Sure.
So
Yeah, that's something that's certainly appealing. I know that just from a recruiting perspective, right? The ability to work with folks that have worked in a global company like that, right? You're getting experience and cultural skill sets that you wouldn't always receive if it was just more of a locally based firm. And so, sounds like a great jump off for you to kind of build your career. Obviously, you start spreading your wings here into more of management level skill set. From there, you move into like a director of engineering for a few stints, all the way up to a VP of engineering. It looks like for Merchant E Solutions. What would you say were some of those interesting or more focused skill sets that you acquire as you jump from manager to director to VP of engineering? What does that ladder look like for you?
I think the biggest one for me was learning how to be a servant leader. I think that is a skill that tend to a lot of good managers doesn't understand, and it's not it becomes a leader and not just a manager, right? Being that servant leader where you're caring for people, I think that is one of the big ones. Also, I think understanding more strategically where we're trying to go, how we're trying to get there, and being able to connect the dots. Figuring out how to take strategically where we want to go, and then helping the team connect the dots. Versus with setting objectives, setting goals, and aligning the teams to being able to execute on those goals was instrumental. I feel as though in my success in really building the teams and actually building a lot of different things in the company.
So there's a transition point in your career that I like to point out here, where it looks like the entrepreneurial bug got to you, and you launched your own kind of consulting company. This was Element of Technology around 2017. What inspired you to build your own thing, or to start your own company at this time? What was it that kind of lit that fire for you?
Well, I mean, I've always, ever since once I got out of the military, I've always was an entrepreneur in some fashion. I've always actually, created things on the side as side projects. It could be, creating a little application to kind of track my CDs and my tapes. It could be, something to help my son or something to help my niece or something to help some people, somebody. I've always had little small projects where I bring in, folks to kind of help me, or I've been, I do it myself. It just, it got to the, I've always said, as I start to think about retirement and when I'm ready to say I'm done with everything, I want to be able to have said I created something.
Hmm.
So I created something where I've given back. And so I created Element of Technology to actually build an application called Spills, which is a tool to help kids college and career plan. That's basically what it is, an online tool, which, I've created. I've actually given it to, several organizations to leverage and use to help kids start to learn about colleges, learn about themselves, as well as learn, what grants and scholarships are out there to help pay for college, which is, it sounds like an oxymoron for me being a CTO here at Opportunity Work, where we're saying we're trying to help people that doesn't have a 4-year degree get a job that's paying equitably for them, and which is saying, kind of contradicts. Why are you, you don't want, you're not looking at people that doesn't have a 4-year degree, but yet you're saying you're building something to help kids go to college. We still have a gap
Hmm.
in the world today. We got to always be mindful. There are people that can go to college, and there are people that can't go to college, and the people that can't go to college, we should give them ways to figure out how to go to college, because I think in college is definitely important. However, the people that can't, we should also look at their skills and not just look at what they've done in college. So again, I believe that college is important, yes, but also I believe that, making sure we give people or equip people with the necessary skills. If they go to college, they don't, you know, they are able to actually get a job where they're actually successful. I mean,
Sure.
we've seen it time and time again, right? Mark Zuckerberg. We look at, Bill Gates didn't start in college, built some massive companies, Facebook and Microsoft. So
Hmm. Yeah, I think the theme that I kind of pick up on too is, there's an overarching, foreshadowing here for, the role of opportunity at work of just wanting to improve the lives of folks, by whatever means it takes, if it's through college, if it's through apprenticeship programs, but giving folks a platform, giving folks the knowledge and the information that they need to make a decision on what will help improve their lives and their families' lives. I mean, I think overall it sounds like, you were kind of inspired to help folks, and you used, your background and your experience from a tech perspective to help create this tool for folks to gather data, gather more research, and make more of an educated decision on how they can better improve their situation. So I think there's some foreshadowing there that leads into opportunity at work, which I do want to segue into. It's a big opportunity for you specifically. Would this be, obviously you started a business, right, as a founder owner, but the seat of a chief technology officer or a CTO role, a C-suite role within a corporation like this. Is this your first CTO position that you take on?
actually, it's not. I've worked at another company, two companies as a CTO. I wasn't there long, so I don't ever want to say, hey, this, that, and the other. I started them. I got in, kind of started helping build, and then, passed it down to a successor, and I moved on and found a home where I felt a lot more comfortable, which was
Okay.
but I have worked at a couple other companies as a CTO or a senior VP. So
And so that theme of servant leadership, does that translate as well into what you would consider, what your job is as a chief technology officer within a company?
yes, I mean, it definitely does. I mean, you have to get people to work and do things that, sometimes is not it's not great in doing. But you have to, relate and put yourself in their shoes and figure out ways how you support them and giving them what they need to do to accomplish the mission. So Of course, definitely, as a CTO, you have to think about that.
So you pursue this opportunity with Opportunity at Work. What was it about the position and the company, I guess, that drew you in to accept this one?
Well, a lot of what I thought was, one, helping people was the big thing, but two, a company that was very, that preached about diversity, diversity, inclusion. Um, they preached it. During my interview, they talked about how strong it was in DEIB, and actually coming here and being a part of the organization, it truly is a DEIB company. Of course, every company needs some work. I'm not going to sit and say we picture perfect, but we are definitely, practicing diversity at all, at all levels. So,
So the theme at Opportunity at Work, there's a lot of what you all kind of describe as tear the paper ceiling. Can you just kind of break that down a little bit and what that means for our listeners?
yep. So, Tear the Paper Ceiling is a campaign that we launched last year to, again, for employers to start noticing that there are skilled workers out here that doesn't have a 4-year degree, and we need to start removing the degree requirements that are placed on job descriptions. We need to start removing them and start using more skills, or describing skills in the job description of what we're looking to achieve, or what we're looking for in order to achieve that job that you're wanting them to to work and do, right, to
Mhm.
bring into your organization. So that's what that's the whole thing on Tear the Paper Ceiling is, let's come together. Let's realize that degrees are great, but degrees shouldn't be the thing that holds that bias and that biasness for people. It shouldn't hold that bias or that prejudice. If you remove that and list out the skills in which you're looking to attain, or to you look for the skills that you're looking for that actual role. List them out. Be specific. Know what you're wanting, and you know, and let that drive your feeling of that position. That's
Sure.
what Tear the Paper Ceiling is all about.
Yeah, and just knowing more about what you all do is was we've helped you all identifying talent. We've worked with you all as a customer in the past, and obviously are always looking to find ways to improve workforce development from a diversity perspective. This was a very big a very big campaign that incorporated, there's about 50 other national organizations, companies like Chevron, Walmart, McKinsey, LinkedIn, kind of coming together. And I think that is, like validating that there does need to be some sort of a change here across the greater good of the corporate America here, right? And so getting these other companies to participate is got to be just kind of that validation of like, it is acknowledged, right? There is a problem here. How do we fix it? Let's work together to try to create these opportunities. Now, and that can be done through apprenticeships, right? Apprenticeships is becoming a really big thing that not just government and agencies within public sector are embracing, but big consulting firms like Accenture are becoming big advocates for on the job training, which is something that I'm a huge advocate for. I think it's much needed because the reality is, there's a lot of education stemmed issues, right? And some of the things that you pointed out kind of resonates with myself in terms of growing up in a lower income household where the idea of college was just seemed overwhelming from a cost perspective, right? I mean, and it just doesn't get it's not getting any better. It just keeps
Right.
going up. So what are other ways that folks can obtain these skills? So like things like apprenticeships. But I do want to bring it back to opportunity at work. So I was listening to um, a podcast with your old founder and CEO Byron Auguste,
Mhm.
where he referenced, there's like 140 million different job transitions that are being like data points that are being like kind of tracked, and it's clear to me, and I think it's an obvious, a couple of examples out there that folks can start within a position of help desk or customer service, right? And then next thing you know is they're transitioning into a frontline sales leader, and these are examples that carry on from sales to technology roles to finance. It's about getting the training, and getting the folks, the employers to commit to spending the time to invest in these people, to be able to make those leaps. So I think it's just a really fascinating model. I think there's a very interesting movement right now in the labor market. When we think about big tech, layoffs, I know firsthand there's a lot of folks that are out there that in the world of tech recruiting that are, let go, and looking for opportunities. And I think there's a reality out there that they might not want to go back into the world of tech recruiting or into tech. Maybe they want to transition into something else, And I think this conversation leads down that path of, just because you're labeled this one skill set, that's not the end all be all. There's
You can be
room.
a tech recruiter and you can turn around and you can be a nice, a program manager.
Yep.
And it doesn't need to be in technology. You can be a program manager in finance, right? You can
Right.
be a program manager in healthcare,
Yep.
or a project manager, right? You can also as a recruiter, you
I've
can
seen recruiters become engineers.
they can be salesmen, right?
Right.
They can be a very good salesperson because again, you're selling the companies when you recruit, right? That's a
Right.
skill.
It's a
Right?
skill.
That's right.
It's the skill. So it's a conversation that we love to elevate and kind of keep top of mind. We stand by the mission of what you all are doing over there, and I want to kind of just use a couple of minutes to learn a little bit more about down the line this year. What types of roles do you think that Opportunity of Work might be hiring for? What are the types of positions that might be coming through the pipeline and in areas of tech, engineering, product, that's within your org?
Um, as we continue to enrich ourselves in data, I can see a lot more, data analysts roles. I can see us leveraging more data engineers in here. Um, I'm really hung on architecture, and
Hmm.
so definitely looking at how I could, bring in more architects to kind of help us build out some of the intellectual property things that we're trying to accomplish internally. Um, and as always, anytime you're building things, you're gonna always need more engineers. So
Sure.
more software engineers, software testers. I don't call them testers anymore. It's really engineers in testing. Uh,
Hmm.
but definitely will, continue to build out more of that as well. So
What would you say are some of the things that folks can be excited about if they're to join Opportunity at Work in 2023? What's on the horizon?
like I said, we talked a little bit about the data mobility
Hmm.
model, and the analytics that we're, taking the workforce data, taking from the labor market and understanding how, jobs transitioning and that to me is really cool and building out heavy integrations with some of the big boy systems that are out there like the ICMs and the work days and you know that to me
Hmm.
is all fascinating type stuff.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's those types of partnerships are going to be instrumental, just given the fact that how many companies are relying on these systems. those types of partnerships that kind of plug and play into that ecosystem is a fascinating way of getting at folks to adapt, because I think that's the biggest challenge, right? We can talk about it all we want, but until there's action on it, and companies are actually implementing some of these programs, and it's gonna be a long road for change.
Yeah.
Um,
We send a lot of play at the government level, right, on the state
yeah.
and the federal level. Doing a lot of integrations with those entities as well is going to be key. We know, especially with the big tech layoffs that we're now seeing, right, across the world, across the nation rather. We can almost imagine that people are going to be working with, the government
Mhm.
entities looking for jobs, and we want to make sure we're right there, in partnership with the agencies, those government entities, and actually finding, helping navigate and finding jobs for those stars.
Yeah, that's a great point. We're from a company that's based here in DC, with Hatch. We started, primarily with, government contracting consultants, A-Days, small businesses. And then we made a pivot into commercial product and startups. At a point, there was a good point there for a few years where, you'd ask a commercial technologist to consider an opportunity that's, helping defense or public sector, in some fashion, and it's a huge turnoff.
Yep.
In the last 6 months, it's been more and more appealing because there's a level of stability
Yep.
that they're not seeing, right now in the private sector, and so. How do you fill that gap? How do you allow for these folks to transition into these bureaucratic environments that it's a lot of red tape, and so programs like stars, and companies like Opportunity at Work, a lot of innovation labs that are out there that connect defense with commercial, and bridging that gap. That's something that we're really intrigued with as well as a company, and we're looking to use our platform, the podcast, for some future episodes I'll plug that are all about augmenting innovation in those settings. So we're excited to kind of kickstart the conversation on this episode as well.
Yep.
Um,
I'm definitely would love to be a part of that. If you guys see me back, I think that innovation labs are the wave of the future. I mean,
yeah.
they've, probably in like the last 8 years or so, we start to see a lot of companies start to take advantage of it. I mean, I've
Mhm.
started to see a lot of companies start to take advantage of creating those design labs, or innovation labs, where they can prove out a lot of different concepts, and it's really no coding. It's all product design, and it's all trying to understand how users will, react to certain designs or certain things that we are planning or thinking about, right, before
Mhm.
you actually even go out and implement it. So definitely would love to be talking through some
Yeah,
things.
I mean, there's no more in your face example of this as well than Open AI.
Right.
The Open AI lab, right? Chat GPT kind of
Right.
spun out from this type of innovation lab, and we see a lot of them, primarily targeting innovation in the defense sectors. Like Kessel Run does a lot of this work out in Massachusetts, and obviously the work that's being done in agencies like DARPA is really fascinating. So yeah, we're here for it. We're big supporters, and I'm glad that we're able to use our platform to tell your story, and to get the message out about the work that Opportunity at Work is doing to promote this innovation. Um, so before we let you go, we've got to have a little more fun here with you, with a segment that we call the 5 second scramble. And so this is some rapid fire questions where you'll kind of have, try to keep it under 5 seconds to sum up your answer. And some will be business, some will be personal. But let's jump into it. Are you ready?
Yes, let's hit it.
Okay. All right. So, it sounds like you've got a child of your own. So let's date that back to when your child's 5 years old. How do you kind of simplify what opportunity at work is doing when you're explaining what daddy does?
Yeah, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Um, Company that helps people that doesn't have a degree find jobs that pays good money.
Okay. And so, what problems are you solving here at Opportunity at Work?
Problem we're trying to solve is a large number of people don't have jobs or don't have good paying jobs, and we want to change their life to where they can now take care of their family.
There you go. What's your favorite aspect about working at Opportunity at Work?
Being a leader that's part of the whole mission. I'm part of something that's bigger than me.
Is there anything about your work that keeps you up at night?
Um, yeah, trying to make sure that I position the technology and the company in a good way to actually help the people that we're trying to help.
What type of technologists would you say thrive at Opportunity at Work?
Inquisitive, innovative, and a cheerful uh, technologist. You know, can't be dark, can't be in the closet. That automatically comes with a technologist. But
That's right.
we want a person to be cheerful. We want to be upbeat, very inquisitive, ask a lot of questions, and be innovative.
What's your go-to cereal?
Ooh, good. Captain Crunch
Mm, with the crunch berries?
with the crunch berries. Got to
There you
have the
go.
crunch
Gotta have the crunch berries. You coffee or tea or none of the above?
tea.
What's your favorite app on your phone today?
TikTok.
Hey, I don't hate it. There's a lot of entertainment to be had.
That's it.
Um, who's a tech entrepreneur that you find fascinating?
Um, Steve Jobs.
What do you love most about yourself?
Cheerful, funny, loving, and very empathetic.
I pick up on that. What would you say would be a superpower that you would love to own? What would it be?
Blessing people. If I can bless people with or gift people with something, whatever they want, I can give it to them. That'll be a superpower.
So you want to be the genie.
I want to be the genie.
You want to be the genie. What would you say is the worst fashion trend that you've ever followed?
Oh my God! Probably cross colors back in the back in the '80s, late '90s, late '80s, early '90s. Cross colors, the bright, bold colors with the big shoes. I
I
guess.
mean, it's coming back, right? It always repeats itself.
I hope it. I hope that never come back.
They could bury that one. All right, we got to end it with the golf question. You go out there and swing some sticks around. So what if you could be paired up for a round of golf with any athlete, who would you want to be paired up with?
Michael Jordan.
Okay, there you go.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think Jordan got a good golf game. So
Mm-hmm.
it would probably be him or Steph Curry.
Good
I, I
answer.
I think both of them, you know, very, very, very competitive,
Mm-hmm.
and I guarantee they both got a good golf
Yeah, I would have to go with the goat. I got to go with Tiger. Got to go with Tiger.
game. Tiger,
Yeah, but he,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
he, he
that
maybe
might be cool. That might be a good one too.
yeah, he could teach me a thing or two. Well,
Now,
good stuff.
the thing is, you don't want them to teach you what's on the golf course. You want to teach them about other things in life, right?
That's true.
So,
That's
I,
true.
I, Michael Jordan is a great businessman, very competitive guy, and I don't know. That's what I.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That's another goat. So,
Yeah.
um, Well, thank you so much for spending time with us, Kelcey. We're excited for the future of what you all are building, and of course the mission behind Opportunity at Work. It's definitely a space that needs a lot of attention. So appreciate you all doing the hard work and lifting over there to solve some big problems. So we're rooting for y'all. Thanks for joining us on the pair program.
Yeah, thank you, man, for inviting me, and definitely, I won't be a stranger. If you ask me to come back, I'll be back. So,
We love
yeah.
repeat visitors, so we'll take you up on that.